I'd like to welcome you to this edition of Pro House Cleaning. And today we have a very special guest with us, Angela Brown. Now, I sold my business in 2015. About a year later, Angela Brown came on the scene and she has taken the industry by storm. Angela Brown is a positive, influential, powerful force in the residential cleaning industry. Her businesses are global in reach, and she's built a great team around her to keep her enterprises moving in the right direction. Besides watching dozens of videos that she's produced, which are spot on and accurate in providing helpful information to people in this business, we've gotten to know each other a little bit by working on some issues of common interest. And she has a strong interest and passion for training in the house cleaning industry. So to tell us about that personally and a whole lot more, let's give a big welcome to Angela Brown.
Well, thank you so much for having me on the show today. I'm super excited to join you. And I'm in the industry because, like you said, I have a passion for helping people up-level the industry for cleaning. There are a lot of people like myself that got involved in the house cleaning industry as a way to make a little bit of extra money. I was waiting tables and a girl at the restaurant started a cleaning business and she said, "You want to come help me?" And I said, "Oh, sure, that's a way to make money." I didn't even know it was a job or a profession. And so we went to clean a house, and my first day on the job, I realized that we had a huge conflict of interest because our work ethic was different. And she was lifting up the rugs and she was sweeping dust underneath the rugs. And I was like, aren't people paying us to clean out what's under the rugs, not hide the dirt? You know, what is going on here? And I made $150 my first day working all day cleaning houses. And I was so baffled. I was making $2.15 per hour at the restaurant plus tips. And I realized in that moment, as I walked away at the end of my first day, I need to segue from the restaurant business to the house cleaning business, but I can't work for this woman. And so without doing anything unethical, I went to her and I just said, I love the concept, but I'm not right for your business. And so with her blessing, I went and I started my own house cleaning business literally the next day. And I had no idea what it meant. I thought that just because I cleaned growing up, that of course, you just clean, right? I didn't know about chemicals. I didn't know about personal protective equipment. I didn't know about rules and regulations. I had no people skills. I mean, no people skills. I would go to a house to bid a job. I couldn't even look the customer in the eye. I mean, I had no people skills. I didn't have any way to assess what they needed in their home. I mean, it was worse than flying by the seat of your pants. I was winging it with the best of intentions. And I think a lot of house cleaners jump in the house cleaning business that way. I think they jump in thinking, I'm going to go help these people. And we're people pleasers. We want to help.
Right.
But there's more to a business than just winging it. And I had to really come to the realization, if I'm going to survive as a business owner, I hate to say this, but I got to take business classes. I got to learn about accounting. I have to learn about the psychology of how people behave and why they buy. I have to learn about chemical safety, and I have to learn about different surfaces. I mean, it was a whole new form of education that I started getting on the job training, because I don't know why I was successful in picking up some customers, but my business grew really, really fast. And the more it grew, the more stressful I became. I didn't have the right skills. And I had to scale back just a little bit so that I had time to go back to school so that I could take the classes I needed in order to run the business. And so flash forward a few years, in 2015, we had a real serious life-altering situation that forced me out of the business. And we had a troubled teenager come to live with us. And she was destructive and violent and suicidal and all kinds of crazy things. And I couldn't leave her by herself. I couldn't take her on a job. She physically assaulted one of my clients, and she physically assaulted one of my employees. I'm like, I can't take her with me. And she stole things from people. And so hazard, right? And I had to stop in this moment and I had to reevaluate, what am I going to do for the rest of my career? And I'll be honest with you, David, I never was going to grow up to be a house cleaning lady. That was not my plan.
You know, people have told me that they never dreamed of, well, I'm going to grow up to be a house cleaner. but
Well,
but it turns out to be not too bad of a situation. So tell us more. Tell us more about that story.
what happened for me was I woke up one day and I realized, this is what God gave me. This is what's in front of me. This is what I'm good at. And if I can't still clean houses, and it became too much physically, it took 24/7, three people 24/7 to watch this young lady. I couldn't even manage my team. And so it was like they say, if you chase two rabbits, both will get away. I had to
Sure.
stop and make a decision. Am I going to chase my business, or am I going to see if I can help this young lady survive? And when it comes down to everything, although we want to help, my business had been immensely successful and I was in a position where I could sell it. And I said, maybe this is the time and for me to put my focus on something else. But during that window of time, I started looking at everything I knew about the business. And I said, I know enough here, and I'd been training enough. I've been all over the world now. I've gone to 31 countries, training house cleaning to different organizations in different homes, different home cleaning companies, different franchises. And I said, this is something I know. What if, and here's the really spooky thought, what if I could learn this internet thing and not have to travel and do this from a hotel room or from somebody's office somewhere? And I had no idea about social media. I had no idea about search engine optimization or websites or online training or any of that stuff. And so in that one moment, and this is the beginning of 2016, I pivoted my entire business. And I said, let me take what I know and let me go online and see if I can help other business owners that started out where I started out, where we were just winging it and flying by the seat of our pants with the best of intentions, trying to help customers upgrade their house and their home.
So you've jumped in 2016 to today. What have you experienced people who are jumping into this industry really need the most?
Well, that's a really great question. When I jumped in, one of the very first things that I did was I started a Facebook group. And it was really kind of an awesome thing. I had no idea what Facebook was. I'd had a Facebook account since 2008, but I call it a graveyard account because I was like a ghost. I would swing by every 6 months and I'd go, boo. And then
Right.
I'd bounce back out again because I don't take pictures of my lunch and all that stuff. I don't, that's weird. And I didn't know how Facebook worked. And my married name is Angela Oberer. My husband is Oberer. And I had been Angela Brown for 25 years as a house cleaner because no one could say the name Oberer, but they could remember Angela Brown to recommend me. So I just stayed as Angela Brown. But I didn't have a Facebook under Angela Brown. So as I moved on to the internet, and I'll get to answering your question here real quick. What I did is I moved in, I changed my name to Angela Brown. And as I set up this Facebook page, an hour later, my brother called me and he said, are you getting divorced? I said, no, why? He said, I saw the Angela Brown Facebook page. I said, no, I just set this up for my business. About 20 minutes later, my sister called and she said, do you need a place to stay? I'm so sorry for you. Is everything all right? Well, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. Facebook had told them somehow that I had this new page. So I didn't make any friends or anything. I just made a page. So I went online and I was like, I'm not getting divorced. Everything's cool. Pat's still my best friend. But I'm saying goodbye to this segment of my life, and I'm putting the business, I'm selling the business, I'm moving on. And I said, this is what I'm going to be doing next. About 20 minutes later, my customers, I hadn't sold the business yet. One of my customers called. She's like, are you quitting us? And you didn't tell us. I was like, whoa, how did you know? Facebook has spent billions in algorithms to connect people that know each other. So to answer your question, what do house cleaners know or need to know as they're getting involved in the business? They need to know that there are already systems in place like Facebook that will take you where you need to go. Now, I know that sounds like it has nothing to do with cleaning, but every house cleaner has a question, where do I go to find people? So it is incredibly important that instead of reinventing the wheel, that you jump on the train that has already left the station. It has already left the station. Just jump on. It's a free ride. Right. And so what I'm talking about is if you have an online presence, and if you don't, you need to, because we are now in the era of social proof. No right. longer can you wing it without having ratings and reviews and a website and all that stuff. I could, because back in the day that I started my business, there were no websites. Right. There were no ratings and reviews. It was, I think, eBay or maybe Amazon that started the rating and review process. Right. And then everybody's like, how many stars? I'm like, what are stars? I mean, so, but today that's a focus. You have to have that today. And what I'm talking about is if you have a Facebook page, it's got to have a picture of you, not a picture of your dog, not a picture of what you believe for politics, but it has to have a picture of you. When people go to do their social proof and they're going to find you, this is the person that's going to come to my house to clean my house. They want to look at that and they want to say, that person looks nice. I think I would like to have them come.
They want to feel safe.
They do. And when they click on the bigger Facebook page and there's a picture of you and your dog, that's okay. Because they're going to say, oh, there's David and he understands dogs and animals. And I have dogs and animals, so he would be a good fit for my home. So people are piecing the puzzle pieces together just like the algorithms are. So what do house cleaners need to know? They need to know this. You are now living in public. Even if you're shy, even if you're an introvert, even if you think you're just going over to clean. Absolutely. If you're going to play the game of ratings and referrals and reviews, you've got to have all of your social media in place, because all of your training, all of your certifications, the classes that you're taking, all of that stuff that we post on social media, your customers are looking at that. And by the same token, if you're cussing and you're blasting politics and you're involved in all kind of weird stuff, they're looking at that too. And they're making a decision. Do I want to hire this person and have them come into the privacy of my home, around my children, around my elder parents? Is this the person I want in my home? And I can't tell you how many times people have called me and said, I was going to hire this person. Her website looked fantastic. And when I went to her social media page, she was cussing a blue streak all over. And I said, you know what? I don't want that in my home.
Exactly.
And it's now how you present yourself. It's how you present yourself out at the car when you're walking to and from the customer's house with your cleaning equipment. Because here's the thing. We live in a world of home security systems.
Right.
Everybody's systems
everywhere now.
Everybody's systems are on activation. When you drive up and you get out of your car, the next door neighbor apps start going wild. There's a strange car in the neighborhood. Who is that person? Oh, that's the cleaning lady. There are people having conversations about you before you even get into the customer's house.
Absolutely.
If you open your trunk door and dirty laundry falls out onto the ground, it just picked up on 6 people's cameras.
Right. Right.
Anyway, I got off on a tangent.
So that is so important, how to find the houses to clean and how to get them to understand that they can trust you. So part of that equation, and you said that earlier in our conversation, is, how do you clean a house properly? Now, I know that we started an association called the Association of Residential Cleaning Services International, in part to help people understand that there is a craft of professional house cleaning, and it is much different than what you might do to clean your own home. And so there's a lot of exotic surfaces that, just like we didn't have the internet a few years ago, we didn't have exotic marble and granite. In most homes, it was mostly formica and vinyl floors and so forth. And the world has changed in what a home looks like on the inside, on how you take care of it, on the tools that you use. So tell us, because last year, I know that you had the privilege of attending your first convention at ARCSI, ARCSI is what we call it. And tell us about your experience there and what you were able to glean from that, and why other people might want to attend if they're in this industry.
Well, that's a great question, and thank you for asking that. The conferences are really interesting and important for the reason that you connect with other like-minded people. So there are a bunch of other cleaners. Many of them will be your competitors. Many of them will be in other cities, and so they're not competing directly with you. But when you get in a conference, and I say a conference, you're sitting at a round table, you're sitting at lunch, you're in a hallway, you're waiting for a class to open, you're sitting next to someone in a class that you're taking, there are a lot of conversations that strike up. And during those sessions, you have the opportunity to say, hey, I'm working on this. Have you ever run into this scenario? And it's a lot of stuff that happens inside a private Facebook group, but it's at a different level, where somebody says, well, since we spent lunch together here, I would like to help you. Let's become accountability partners where you and I connect, and we'll feed back and forth each other information. You do it in your city, I'll do it in my city. So there are a lot of personal relationships that are built at a place like that. Another thing about that particular conference is every hour on the hour, there were concurrent sessions going on that were educational. And so you have a laundry list of classes you can take. So whether you want to come learn about surfaces or whether you want to take a certification course, there were floor certification classes. There was the HCT certification class. There were a whole bunch of different certification classes, as well as marketing classes and stuff to boost your social media. There were advertising classes. There were classes on how to price your services. Really, depending on what you need, there were all these different classes you could pick and choose between. The unfortunate part of it is you can only be in one class at one time. You can't go to all of them at once, and it would have been so awesome if you could have. But it's really great because the people that you met at the dinner table, they go to one class, you go to the other, and then you meet up again for dinner and you go, hey, what'd you learn? What'd you learn? And you swap notes, and so it was fascinating. One of the coolest things about it, and this is one I did not see coming, but one of the coolest things about attending the conference is it is Facebook Live. It's Facebook Live. All of my friends and relatives and friends and whatever that I had met in the industry that I only knew through Facebook came to life in the hallways of the conference. And so although it was my first ARCSI ISSA conference, as I walked into that conference, I saw in real life people I'd only seen that were like little tiny, how small your head is on the thing inside the Facebook group. They came to life. And so instead of people like, oh, hello, I'm Angela, shaking hands, it was hugs. It was like, we're home, we're friends, yay. It was so, I can't explain, like it was like being at home, Mm-hmm. So if you've never been to a conference, and I think that probably there are some people that are thinking about going. I know that there's another one coming up this October. If you've never been to a conference, you really owe it to yourself to invest in your business, and it's tax deductible. It's a tax deduction. So write it off as a business expense. Go get your education, go get your certifications. Some of these certification classes are not taught anywhere else. You can only get them at the conference. And then there's this enormous trade show where there are all different kinds of vendors, and you get to go sample products and see how products are used. And you'll see robotic vacuums that kind of like do everything but cook your dinner. I mean, it's fancy
There's more
stuff.
vacuum cleaners and mops in one place than I've ever seen before, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
So, you've talked about the importance of first finding customers and getting them to trust you. And then, okay, how do you learn how to clean like a professional? Get with other professionals, get with companies that make the products by way of the ARCSI show and convention. And there's other courses too. I want to tell you one of my favorite books in the industry, just to let everybody know about Angela Brown. She wrote this book right here, How to Start Your House Cleaning Company. And so the tagline or the subheading says, go from startup to payday in 1 week. That's how rich this business and this industry can be for people. There's money coming in every day, every time you clean a house, just like you said, at the end of the day, you had made $150. And it's humble work, it's simple work, but it is a professional craft. And you can deliver so much value and help people by learning the inside of this book. I suggest to everyone that they buy it. How else can we find out more about you and the services you offer, Angela?
Well, thank you so much for promoting my book, David. That's just generous of you, and I appreciate it beyond measure. Thank you. It is available on Amazon. If you would like to find me, I'm at savvycleaner.com. And I'm also on YouTube. If you just do a search for Angela Brown, you'll find me.
Spell that Savvy Cleaner for me.
SAVVYCLEANER.com. SavvyCleaner.com.
And Angela Brown is the Savvy Cleaner. And we thank you so much for the time that you've taken today to speak with everybody who's listening to this broadcast. And that's another edition of Pro House Cleaning. And we look forward to seeing more of you, Angela. I'd like to do this again with you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye now.